So, everybody, hi, it's Ashley. It's been a while. It's been brought to my attention that I have not done any video blogs on a lot of my vacations recently in the past 5 years or so. 2020 wasn't a good year for vacations. We did go to Colombia, but no video blog for that. The year before that, 2019, we went on 5 vacations, 5 different countries. Didn't do any video blogs for those. So, better late than never. We just finished Egypt and Turkey. We've been back for almost a week now, so everything's not like super fresh in my brain, but I'm going to do my best to kind of recap so something's better than nothing. So let's start from the very beginning. I work for Delta now, so I fly for free on Delta, among other airlines, for a small fee via standby. So for Egypt and Turkey, unfortunately, due to 2020 and some other circumstances, Delta does not fly to either of those countries at the moment. So we were forced to try a different airline this time, and we did that based on loads, obviously. So on the way there, we did Lufthansa, I believe is how you say it. They were excellent. So we flew them from Atlanta to Frankfurt to Cairo. And upon arriving in Atlanta and checking in, they were so helpful at the desk. They assigned us seats for both legs, checked us in, gave us boarding passes for both legs. So we were calm. We were good to go for the rest of the trip, the next 20 hours or so flying. So that was really nice. They were really great. The flight crew was nice. The food was good. The seats were good. In-flight entertainment was good. They didn't upgrade us, which was fine. We were prepared to sit in the main cabin like peasants, not Delta One lie flat seats. So that's okay. So we were good. Smooth sailing, connected in Frankfurt, on to Cairo. Yay! We're meeting John and Bruna there. Good times. We all got our PCR tests done. Up for arrival, and upon arrival in Cairo, we were the very last ones in line for customs. Somehow we picked the wrong line, and it was moving at the pace of a snail, and everybody kept jumping over into the next line over because it was moving faster, and somehow we just stayed and ended up dead last, like literally last. So upon the quarantine check, apparently she didn't like my PCR test. She said that it was not an acceptable PCR test for entry. And I said, well, your government website says PCR test. This is a PCR test. What's the problem? So she got quiet, took my passport, took my test, said, wait a minute, talked to somebody, and then she's like, okay, follow me. I said, well, wait a minute, I'm not going anywhere without my husband. And she's like, well, does he have the same test? I said, yes. She goes, well, you both can come with me. So she walks us somewhere in the airport. We just got done traveling from Florida to Atlanta to Frankfurt to Cairo. So we were going on about 26 hours of being awake and traveling. So we're just following her blindly. We get to the quarantine it's like a little office window. It's not even like a room. I can see Customs Border Patrol right there. All we had to do was walk away and go through there if we had our passports. Unfortunately, they confiscated the passports. So there was a few other people there. Everybody's kind of wondering what's going on. Why am I here? Nobody's really being told anything. We're talking amongst ourselves. So there's one guy that apparently is also a resident of Egypt somehow, and he had a resident card, and he kept flashing that, asking, does this make a difference? So we're staying there for about an hour with no answers. Finally, one of the girls that was there, she's free to go. They let her take a PCR test there. They had a rapid PCR machine right there. They let her pay $25 and take one, and off she goes. I said, well, excuse me. I said, can I pay? Can we do the same thing? I don't mind paying. No, you can't do that. I'm like, okay, why are we all getting special treatment now? And the other gentleman, maybe a half hour later, he starts walking away. He stops by me. He goes, I really hope it works out for you guys. Sorry about this. He goes, I don't know if you need to slip somebody a 20 or what, but good luck. And he walks away. And at that point, I'm thinking, okay, so he's also a resident here. So he must know something. And he made the suggestion of slipping somebody a 20. So in that instance, I didn't have a 20, I had a 50. I pulled out a 50, cupped it in my palm next to my phone, and tried attempting to show somebody something on my phone about the PCR test with the 50 showing behind the phone. Like, hint, hint. There was a younger gentleman, no mask, street clothes, there doing something on his cell phone for people. I don't know what he was doing, but I said, well, is there something that we can do? He's like, well, I'm helping these people out. I can't do anything for you. I'm like, well, how are you helping these people out, but you can't help us out? I don't know. Now I know. It's because we're American and they're not. Whatever. So finally, about 3 hours later, since we arrived, we're the very last ones standing there with no answers other than, well, we're sending you back to the United States. And then I said, okay. And then it was, well, no, now we're going to send you back to Frankfurt to get retested and come back. I said, okay, well, what flight are we on? Who's paying for the ticket? Because we don't have it. Blah, 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 blah. No answers. Finally, another gentleman comes up and he says, are you vaccinated? I was like, no, because I'm not vaccinated. He goes, are you sure you're not vaccinated? I was like, yes, I am vaccinated. And he's like, oh, okay, do you have the QR code? No, okay. So he's like, well, let's register you for the QR code. I said, okay. So he does something on the phone. I don't know. I have to confirm some code after he entered my cell phone number. And he emails me basically a screenshot of some website that has a QR code saying I got the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. Probably shouldn't be recording all of this, huh? Maybe I'll cut this bit out. Anyway, so he does something on his phone. Magically, we're free to go. He hands us back our passports. I hand him the 50, and we're on our way through customs, which didn't even ask for the PCR test or anything. So, very corrupt. Bad taste in my mouth from the get-go. Awful. So thankfully, our hotel ride waited the 3.5 hours for us to come out of the airport. He was still there waiting for us. Took us to the hotel. We kind of splurged on this one because we wanted a pyramid view. So I got a room that had a balcony. It was called a king suite. Basically, it had like 4 queen size beds in it. Like 800 square feet or something with the balcony with the pyramid view. So we check in, everything's great. He walks us up to our room, open the door. It's no bigger than my bathroom, basically. And I was like, I don't think this is our room that we reserved. So we went back downstairs and he played dumb. He's like, no, this is your room. I'm like, no, it's not. So apparently our room was occupied and he tried to just pawn us off into some other cheaper room. So another bad taste in my mouth, among some other things that have happened. Basically, overall, I got the feeling that they don't like Americans. It's the first time I've ever really felt like that. And also, on top of that, being a woman, I don't think that I was treated fairly or with respect in a lot of things and dealings that happened. Mike says he didn't see it, but that's because he's a man and he is not noticing subtle body language and tones and things that happen that I am not used to. Bruna agreed, so it wasn't just me. So American woman, garbage, basically. Don't really have a good taste for Egypt. I don't recommend it. I mean, the pyramids were great. I was prepared to be disappointed by the pyramids, if you can believe that, because I feel like a lot of things are kind of blown up and you get your hopes up about something. So I kind of had my hopes down, thinking, oh, it's probably not going to be that great. Blah, 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 blah. Well, they were pretty great. That was about the only thing. In Egypt, we also did the Nile River cruise. So we stopped at some other temples and things that I found out were actually relocated and restored and not original, which was kind of disappointing. I mean, I understand they're ancient, so of course things happen, but the couple of temples that were relocated was due to the dam that they installed on the Nile River, and it flooded the areas where the original temples were at, so that's why they had to move them. Mike has a theory that the ones with color were not restored. They were painted. And, it's questionable. I hate to sound like a cynic, but it was questionable in some spots. Mike was seeing some scratches that had paint in them that shouldn't have, and like I have a photo of where they're restoring some of the columns, and there's one right next to them that hasn't been done, and there's literally like maybe an ounce of like brown color on it, and all the ones next to it that they're set up working in front of have like blues and yellows, and I'm like, I just, I don't know, maybe they're dusting it off so you can see the color better. I don't know. You'll just have to go there and judge for yourself. Another reason I wasn't a huge fan of Egypt, and it's now taking over the #1 spot for places I dislike and will never go again. It kicked China out of that spot. Dubai came into a close second, probably because of the heavy Muslim population that doesn't like women and doesn't drink alcohol. But the salesmen there, like, lay off, seriously. Like they just have stuff. They're like, here, do you want this? Do you want this? Do you want this? How about now? How about now? Do you want now? How about now? Lady, 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 buy this. Lady, 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 English, lady, where are you from? Buy this. Like, fucking enough. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to swear that. But, like, it was exhausting. Like, I didn't even get to really, like, shop how, like, I normally like to shop and, like, buy trinkets and stuff. Like, they were so exhausting. Like, I just had to, like, not look at them and say, no thank you, and just walk away, because enough is enough. The only time that I had a little bit of time to shop was in the Nubian village. They were a lot nicer there. It was a quiet little town on the riverside. Hardly anybody there, and they were a lot more respectful, and they didn't pressure you to come in their shops and all of this. So I bought some things there. But I mean, they were so bad. When we were on the cruise ship, I have video footage of salesmen on like this little tiny boat. They like lassoed themselves onto the front of the cruise ship, and like allowed the boat to be towed beside, and they were trying to sell scarves and towels and blankets and stuff from the side of the cruise ship, and they were throwing stuff up to people. Curiosity obviously got the best of us. I have to give them to it. Like, it's a lot better than shoving stuff in my face when I'm trying to walk to see a pyramid or something. So we did end up buying a couple beach towels from them, even though they're outrageously priced for Egypt. But I mean, they worked hard for it. I'll post some video footage we got of that. Other than that, so we didn't have any tours booked for Cairo when we arrived, so we went through the hotel, and that was the gentleman that really, it was obvious that he did not like dealing with women. So little iffy there. The tours ended up being all right. We got a lot of good information, but for the Nile River cruise, we booked it ahead of time through Egypt Unlimited Tours, and they were awesome. Like, they went above and beyond. They picked us up from the airport like the 2 days before our tour was even supposed to start. Took us to the hotel. The guy walked in, checked our rooms for us. He didn't like one of the rooms for some reason, so he handled getting us relocated. They were awesome from start to finish. They handed us off to the tour guide on the cruise ship, and then when we were done with that, they handed us off to someone that was going to take us to the airport, even though we were staying overnight again in Luxor at a hotel not booked through them. They were just awesome, and had I known that, I would have booked start to finish with them. Like, it was just seamless, and they handled people for us. So if you are thinking about going to Egypt, I can give you their information. I do recommend that because Egypt's a little bit cray-cray. Honestly, I expected it, since it has the pyramids and the Sphinx and like all these wonderful sites and tourist things. Like, I thought it would be more touristy than it was, and I know COVID's happening, so there wasn't a lot of people, probably because of that. But I just expected more, I guess. I was expecting it to be more like Rome, how busy and touristy and put together it is, but it really did not feel like that at all. It felt more third world, which it is. And it just, I mean, if you're an adventurer, go for it. If you're touristy, you're going to need someone to help you along the way. So we flew on to Istanbul, Turkey after that, and that I was pleasantly surprised. I had low expectations for Turkey for some reason. I guess I just wasn't really familiar with any history there. So it kind of blew me away that it was very modern, and it was very European and comfortable, and after being in Egypt, it was just like a breath of fresh air to drive on like a real road and have signs and people that, are not bothering you every second of every day, and it's just like a normal city that you can walk through. So that was nice. It was the breath of fresh air. We went on to Cappadocia after that, after Istanbul. That's where they have the fairy chimney rock formations, and they do the hot air balloons every morning. And that was kind of like our relaxing, like our Santorini getaway after yacht week. Like just time to relax, not sightsee, just kind of sit on our balcony and have a drink and watch the balloons. We did do the hot air balloon ride, and that was fantastical. Our pilot was great. I do recommend splurging on that if you ever get the chance to go. But other than that, not much to say. I guess I should have done this when everything was fresh in my brain, but I think I've talked long enough. I kind of feel like this was just a complaining video, but I know when I went to Europe and I was doing all my video blogs then, I had quite a few of those. So you guys know what to expect, and if you don't want to hear me talk, then all you gotta do is hit stop. So a few other things that I haven't mentioned that came to mind in Egypt was the tipping. Everybody expects a tip. Everybody. For anything. I mean, if somebody smiles at you, you should probably tip them. That's what they think. Unfortunately, we were not able to get any small bills, and I think that they make change unavailable at most of the places on purpose. So we were tipping way more than we needed to tip for some things because we just didn't have small bills like the 5s and the 10s. So if you go to Egypt, be prepared with small change to tip everybody. And if you don't tip them enough, be prepared to get yelled at, which seems strange to me because a tip is a tip. You should be thankful for anything, but yeah, I was yelled at a couple of times for not enough money, but whatever. On our Nile cruise that we did a sunset fluka ride, sailboat, which was very nice. They sang us a little song at the end. They made us some tea, which we discovered was straight from the Nile. So we got to drink from the Nile River. Obviously, it was safe because they boiled it to make the tea. Only had a few sips, but I was fine. Who was not fine, but already not fine from Cairo, I believe, from our janky hotel that we stayed in that gave us the wrong room. It was filthy, by the way. The only thing good about that place was the view. I think I could have passed on that to stay at a nicer place, but it's okay. But Bruna and Mike got food poisoning from that hotel. That was the only place that we ate, and ironically they ordered the same meal for dinner on our last night there, and they both got food poisoning. Terrible for the rest of the trip. John was a little iffy, but was okay for the most part. Me, I was fine. My normal vacation constipation. But I'm just thankful I didn't have to deal with that. But people make fun of me for being a picky eater, but it does come in handy sometimes, like when traveling. I do like to try local foods, but I am very selective with what I try, and I know things that I like and dislike at home, and if I dislike these things at home, I'm not going to try them abroad. So, I mean, people can knock me for not trying the local food, but I'm not the one shitting my pants every day. So yeah, there was that. And in Turkey, the amount of stray cats, or maybe pet cats, I don't know, just the amount of cats on the street was obnoxious. Like, I loved it. And none of them were really, like, super skinny. I know there's a lot of destinations that have, dogs that roam the streets and whatnot. But this place had both. They were overrun with cats, and it was amazing, and I loved playing with the little kittens. Mike got swiped by one, but he didn't get any diseases. He's okay. I found one in Cappadocia at our hotel that I wanted to bring home with me. If we were flying standby, I might have tried. It was the sweetest little girl. She came to visit me every morning because we got up before sunrise every morning to watch the balloons, and she would come snuggle with me because it was cold. Yeah, we went from 115 degrees in Egypt, dry heat, dying, to Cappadocia where it was, 45, 50 in the morning. Uh, so that was nice. Surprised nobody got sick. Another note from Cappadocia on the air balloon ride that we did. I don't remember the first time I did an air balloon ride. It was in Colorado when I was like 14 with my mom, in the mountains. I don't remember it all that well, but what I was really impressed by this time was that they land the balloons on the trailers that haul them away. Like, they just land right on the trailer, like, dead on. Like, it's crazy. I'm like, how? I mean, that's a lot of practice. Like, that's pretty impressive driving skills there. Floating skills? Flying skills? Yeah, so there was that.